Okay, we'll kick off as per usual. I've got talkSPORT's football reporter and transfer guru Alex Crook ready to go. Alex, how are you doing?
Yeah, good evening. Had better weekends, as I'm sure you have, but I get a feeling we might be saying that quite a lot over the course of the season.
Yeah, you know, we're both United fans, and it's really weird. It's a really weird time. And what frustrated me today, Alex, a little bit, and the first story I want to talk about is this story about, and I don't think it's true. I think Sky ran a story that Manchester United are considering terminating Ronaldo's contract. I think Paul Hurst in the Times, who's been on the show before, said that Ronaldo's walking around with a moody face a lot. So, but terminating his contract by Manchester United, this got me thinking back in school days when the teacher says, if you don't stop misbehaving, I'm going to send you home early. I mean, Ronaldo wants to go. So what, you know, saying we're going to terminate your contract because unless you start behaving, he's probably not going to do that. What are your thoughts on this story, Alex? Is there any truth in it? Ten Hag has said he's not for sale 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, it looked an unlikely one when I first saw it, and I did fire out a few messages to people well connected at Old Trafford. I think Manchester United have distanced themselves from it for the reasons you've just said, really. It doesn't make any sense. If you've got a player who is agitating for a move and you're trying to get more of a tune out of that player, what you don't say is if you don't improve your attitude, if you don't come into training with a smile on your face, we'll terminate your contract and therefore give you exactly what you've been pressing for. I do think it's an issue. I think if you look at the scenes post-match yesterday, Ronaldo again refusing to salute the travelling fans. I don't like that at all. I don't think it's becoming of any player, let alone somebody of his stature. Didn't shake hands with Ten Hag as he left the pitch either. I think he's thoroughly fed up, Ronaldo. And I'd be fed up because this is a superstar. And he is a superstar surrounded by dross, to be quite honest. And obviously we know that Ten Hag summoned the players back for extra training today. The least that he could have done, really. I was shocked by that performance. I was encouraged by what we saw in pre-season. I thought they'd hired, I wouldn't say the right guy because Pochettino was my first choice, but I wasn't disappointed with the Ten Hag appointment. But these first 2 games have really laid bare exactly how big a job that he has got. Do I see a situation where Manchester United terminate Cristiano Ronaldo's contract? I think it's highly unlikely.
The thing that bothers me, just very quickly, because I know we're going to talk about a little bit more about a few more transfers, and there's an interesting one coming in at Anthony Gordon and Chelsea I wanted to ask you about. But what bothers me a little bit is Man United fans need to be unified. Everyone needs to come together. Things need to change. I can't see where the next win's going to come from. And then within 24 hours, the Ronaldo debate's happening again, and it just ruins every bit of momentum that was there last night and this morning, that we need genuine change at the club. It's top to bottom problems. The squad's not good enough. The recruitment's not good enough. The owners aren't good enough. And yet, as the day goes on, we're back talking about Ronaldo again. And Ronaldo's not the problem. David De Gea's not the problem. Harry Maguire's not the problem. Maybe collectively there's many players that are the problem, but there's so much that needs to be done at Manchester United. And, you know, bringing it back to transfers, they've only got 2 weeks to do it. Now, I saw Kante go down clutching his hamstring for Chelsea a couple of hours ago and immediately thought, that's De Jong to Chelsea. That deal now, is he staying at Barcelona? Is he going to Chelsea? There are still people out there, I will say, Alex. Somebody told me today, and I don't want to shout them out in case they don't want me to, but they were saying I've heard some good news that De Jong will be a Man United player by the Liverpool game. So it's still floating around that United are there.
Yeah, I've heard the same, that Manchester United have never really walked away from this deal. He is the player that Erik Ten Hag wants to build the revolution around. They think by playing the game of patience, eventually it will happen. I think we need to hope for his sake and for Manchester United's sake that it does, but it should have happened by now. We're 2 games into the season. I think it's unlikely that he will be registered if he does sign to play in time against Liverpool, which is almost a game that you can write off. You know, and that's painful to say as a Manchester United fan, but if you come away with a respectable 2-0 defeat, then that will probably be seen as progress, which again shows how far the club have fallen. But they need major surgery between now and the end of the transfer window. You're going to ask me about Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and Chelsea. I think he's a player that should be on Manchester United's radar because I think he's a player who's proven that he can score goals, and there aren't that many number 9s out there. Chelsea have found that, which is why Aubameyang is suddenly on their radar. So I think they need a right back because Dallow's not good enough, and clearly Ten Hag has decided that Wan-Bissaka's not part of his plans. I think he might well end up back on loan at Crystal Palace. I think they still probably need one more left back as well, and they need a midfielder in the De Jong ilk, and they need a striker. Are they going to sign 4 players between now and September the 1st? I would have said it was unlikely, but I just wonder what conversations Ten Hag has had with the board after that debacle yesterday.
It's interesting that we've both heard that same story about De Jong and Manchester United. I suppose we'll see what happens, because right here, right now, I actually think Frankie De Jong can only come to United for money. He can't see a project, but we'll see how that develops. I want to talk to you about Aubameyang, but Rabiot, I don't really want to talk about Rabiot unless you do, Alex. I mean, do you think this is a good signing for Manchester United? We expect it to be completed in the next couple of days? I
don't think it's a terrible signing because he's better than what's there in that midfield area at the moment. But I've seen what you've said on social media, and I understand your misgivings because it does smack of a panic signing. This is not someone who's been on the radar all summer. This is somebody who's become available, and I think Manchester United have decided to press the button. What I thought was really interesting, actually, was Lou Macari on MUTV. This is the club's in-house television station, absolutely slating the signing. I mean, it's brilliant in one way. Yeah, if you thought I was bad, Lou Macari on MUTV, I mean, I had the note. I've still got the notes here. I've got a bad feeling about him. I can't see what his qualities are, and that's on Man United TV. Which is incredible, but again, shows the lack of direction, the lack of leadership, how rudderless the club is, because we all remember when Roy Keane had the audacity to question his own teammates in a pre-recorded MUTV interview. Fergie got wind of it, and that was the end of Roy Keane's Manchester United career. Now we've got ex-players just riding roughshod and saying what they like about the club. Incredible, really. It is. Let's just avert to Chelsea for a moment. They drew 2-2 today. I watched it. I felt that I said to a Chelsea friend of mine a few weeks ago that they asked me about Ronaldo, and I said, I don't want you to get Ronaldo, but if you get Ronaldo in that team, the sort of crosses that Reece James and Ben Chilwell at that time can put in, he'd score you 20 goals in the Premier League easy. He did 18 in a rubbish United side. So they need a striker, and I think Spurs, great result for Spurs, but Aubameyang looks like a no-brainer. And then Anthony Gordon for 40 million. I'm stunned by this. Are they just trying to collect wingers? It's an interesting one, that one as well. So Chelsea, we know we're going to be active. What do you think about those? Well, we know they've been in the market for another wide player. Obviously missed out on Rafinha going to Barcelona. So it doesn't surprise me that they're on the hunt. I think Todd Bowley, and he wrote in the programme today about their mission statement to build on their legacy, and I think this is a good owner, which again, as a Manchester United fan, it's difficult to acknowledge that. I don't know if £40 million will be enough to get Anthony Gordon. I know at the start of the summer there was a big reluctance to sell him because the reaction it would get from supporters. He's a local lad who actually was one of their shining lights of last season. But money talks. Everton need to rebuild. I think if Chelsea get nearer the £50 million mark, that may be enough to force Everton into action. But certainly there is strong interest from Chelsea, and you have to think that even though he's a local lad, that Anthony Gordon would be open to the move to Stamford Bridge because it's Champions League football. It's the chance to go and play under Thomas Tuchel, play alongside the likes of Raheem Sterling, and Everton don't look in a great place at the moment. I don't want to go back to go forward, but Ralph in the live chat says De Jong will never join Manchester United. We're talking about Chelsea. It seemed to be a big deal a week ago, and then as the week went on, it was almost as if Chelsea were like, we want De Jong, and sort of realised that's a hard deal and backed off. Do you think Chelsea is still in that? Because Fofana, as well as Anthony Gordon, as well as Aubameyang, I mean, I know they've got a lot of money, but at some point it starts to go over 300 million, doesn't it? Well, in the middle of last week, I was told that Chelsea were confident they would agree a fee with Barcelona and that they would get De Jong. But you're right, the noises have become a little bit quieter. I don't know if that's because they've got the same information you and I have had about De Jong and Manchester United, or if they've just decided to pursue other targets. What I can say, I think it's going to be a really frenetic final couple of weeks of the window at Stamford Bridge, because obviously they're still looking for Fofana. I would expect that big money bid to come in for him. We've talked about the prospect of Anthony Gordon. I think Thomas Tuchel will be well aware today, if he wasn't already, that they need a number 9, someone to fill that void left by Romelu Lukaku. So I think Chelsea are going to be one of the big movers and shakers in the next couple of weeks.